Okay, we are live. I'm going to click over really quick, Stephanie, to Instagram, but I'm going to start by introducing myself. I am Amanda Marino. I am the founder of Next Level Wellness and Behavioral Health and Amanda Marino Speaks. And I am here on Levels Without Limits with a lovely guest who I've been very excited about having on, who's just such a pure and genuine soul.
Oh,
And came into my life almost just magnetically by I believe God, and really just has been a blessing. And it's amazing how people can come into your life and show up in your life today, and they can be across the country or across the world, right? And connection sees no barriers. And so, Stephanie, with that, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience, and then we'll get into the whole chat. And sorry that we were late for anyone that may have been waiting. That was some technical difficulties on my end.
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for the intro. I'm Stephanie Hazard, and I'm thrilled to be here. And whenever stuff like this works, it's like magic. So I'm just, this is such an amazing opportunity, but also to be able to do this. I think you're in DC, I'm in Connecticut. So in a nutshell, I am in long-term recovery from both substance use disorder and an eating disorder, and I'm a certified recovery coach, and I support people, but I also
Amazing coach.
thank you. And I work with individuals, I work with men, I work with women, but I also work with families and family members. So I'm also a family coach. And what else can I tell you about me? I live in Connecticut, but I work all across the globe. And I've just written a book.
Yay.
Which is going to be released in September during National Recovery Month. But the book itself, the book took it's about 5 years in the making. And the book is, yes, somewhat about my recovery journey, but it's really more, and that's a huge, obviously, part of my story, but it's my pivot to becoming a recovery coach and what working with a recovery coach actually looks like. So the book is sort of a stand-in for me as a coach, which I really hope is going to be super effective. So anyway, that's my news. Yeah.
It's your labor of love. And as someone who's also working on a book, I know, you have the thought for a long time, right? I'm sure that before you took action, like the thought was there.
Yes.
The thought has been there for me for well over a decade, right? And to take action place, and then what you have to do, to put into it, it's a lot, and so that's why not everyone does write a book. But I'm so proud of you for following through with your passion, and really, I feel like you have a message and a mission that you want to get out there. And that, to me, are the greatest kind of books that come out that have that magic behind it. And I believe it's been, divinely led for you to walk this path. And I would like to ask you, what made you want to become a coach? Obviously, there's different things that pull us all into this line of work, or to work in behavioral health, and they're all different stories. And I love to hear what brought you.
Gosh. Just truth be told, when I first heard the term recovery coach, I thought it sounded like bullshit. I quite frankly, because coming from my experience of recovery, I didn't have a coach. I didn't even know having a coach was a thing.
Yes. Same.
Right. And then, but once I did go ahead and get the training, and my curiosity was piqued. I had somebody who said, Steph, you would make a great recovery coach. And I literally said, a recovery what? I had no idea. So, but when I did go to get the training, what was so fascinating to me was the difference and distinction between being a coach, being a counselor, being a sponsor, being a clinician. And a coach is a non-clinical support specialist role. And I think, honestly, it was Natasha Silverbell who gave me my very first coaching engagement.
Oh,
And she,
yeah, you're
yeah,
always the first person that believes in you.
yeah,
And our connection actually is through Natasha. So Natasha, if you are watching this, I may shoot you a text for you to watch. We both love you and thank you for the
yeah,
connection that you have made between Stephanie and I. So
yeah.
we love you, Tosh.
Yeah, so I mean, once she literally put me on my first assignment, and I was, had gone through the basic training, but I think it was after the first case that I said, I'm all in, right? I mean, it's one thing to sort of study something. It's like swimming. You can read a book about how to swim, but until you're in the pool, you don't really know what it takes. And I think for me, the actual being engaged shoulder to shoulder with somebody and treating them as a resource and asking them what recovery looked like for them and helping support them,
Right.
that I think that I was hooked, and that I didn't want to do. There was like everything else paled in comparison. And I've been a full-time recovery coach for about almost 9 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I come from a very old, like and this is not knocking anything at all, but I come from a very old school approach of what I believed. I believed that this is the way that it's done. And if it's not done this way, it's not right. And I actually shamed people, which I was embarrassed about until I worked through it with my therapist. But like, I
Yeah.
was embarrassed that like I had friends that I could have shown up for differently just because of my lack of education. And once I started, like doing more and more coaching, working with more and more people, seeing that everyone has a different path, and not every path was my path, and not every path is linear, right? And it's been so beautiful to see what the coaching aspect has done for all things, right? So like if any person besides like eating disorder or substance use disorder or trauma, or because this is about being a trauma informed coach, if you have the opportunity to have therapy and coaching simultaneously, which I
Yeah.
have the blessing of having, it is the best, because you get to work on what the underneath causes, right? And then you get to have action steps and moving
Yeah.
forward. It is, and in parallel, it's such a beautiful process.
Yeah. And we often, I mean, a coach is always wanting to support the treatment team goals. The coach is an adjunct to the clinical team, and we're only wanting to work in concert, and I have worked with some of the most amazing therapists,
Yes.
and as part of a team. And therapists, and in the book I have a couple of therapists who talk about that. I think originally years ago, they might have felt a little bit threatened, or they didn't totally understand the distinction or delineation. And I mean, part of my basic training is stay in your lane. And that is really important, to stay in my lane. That being said, part of my continuing education and growth with Natasha, specifically at Silver Bell Global, but as a coach independently as well, has been to become a trauma informed coach and a DBT informed coach. Not to take the place of the therapist, but so that I can have a better attunement to my client, and I'm a better active listener. And if there are things that are coming up, either I'm able to hold space for those things, or gently redirecting the client to maybe, do a deeper dive on that in therapy. But it's been,
So we get to implement clinical recommendations in real time with the proper training, like you're saying. And so my biggest partners and referral sources are private practice therapists, psychiatrists, the ones that understand and get the value. But I've had many therapists say to me, "Who the hell do you think you are? You're not a clinician." I mean, I had one therapist I hadn't talked to in a decade who popped on, I guess, on a Sunday morning and saw that like I had grown a successful business, and like attacked me and actually reported me to like a organization. And I said, nowhere anywhere do I say that I am a therapist. I have clinicians on my team. I partner with a lot of clinicians, but nowhere do I say that. I very much respect all of the education and all of the internships and all of the things that you have to do to become a clinician. I knew that I want, like, I would share with my therapist friends. I was like, I want to go back to school and get my master's. And they're like, Amanda, with what you're saying you want to do, you're talking about coaching. So my therapist friends pushed me into coaching because they knew that's what I was really going for. So I never claimed to be, and I thank you to the therapists and the psychiatrists and all of the professionals out there that really get that we're not taking away from, we're adding to, and we're filling in a gap that was missing.
Yeah. And I will say, especially with the eating disorder recovery, okay, that is so high touch as a coach. We're doing food shopping, meal prep. We're eating with our clients. We're going clothes shopping with our clients. We're doing meal challenges. Huh?
We do plating, like helping if it's like plating properly.
And the other really fascinating and I think beneficial piece to this is with all the proper releases in place, we're sending case notes. Or status notes. So the clinicians are up to speed, like fully up to speed between their appointments, right? So if they're seeing their client once a week, instead of spending the first 30 minutes on what happened this past week, they have the status notes. They're totally up to speed and they can pick up from there. So all of the clinicians I work with, they love the status notes, right?
Because take away, we allow therapists or psychiatrists or whatever, dietitian, whatever. We allow those professionals to efficiently do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Them doing case management, then them helping them find a job, them helping them work through meals or groceries. That is not their job. Their job is the clinical work, right? So we give them the ability to focus on that's their skill set and what they do best. I do want to just anyone who has a question or a comment, please feel free to chime in on the chat and I will, pause and ask Stephanie. I do just want to acknowledge my mom is my number one fan. So she's here and she said hello to you, Stephanie. Her name is Green. So I tell her when I'm going to have a good guest. I mean, all my guests are good, but I tell her when I'm going to have like a guest that I think that she'll like. So I did text her and tell her. So she's on here. And I do want to share this. Sarah, my partner, she is a nurse. So she says, I agree. I've had such a success and progress because clinicians are getting reports in live time. It also saves time for the clinicians. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Stephanie. So impressed by you, Stephanie.
Yeah. Oh, great.
So Sarah is, comes from the why it's not standard. And it'll never be, and that's okay. But if you have the ability to have like a team that communicates, the outcomes are so amazing. So what does it mean to be a trauma-informed coach, Steph?
Oh, well, I guess I thought it meant one thing and it's come to mean another. Okay. So what I thought it meant initially was that I was trauma informed because of my own personal experience. And that is true. Okay. I could say I'm substance use disorder informed. And that is because I'm a recovering alcoholic and I've been sober for 26 years. So, but my experience with trauma, I was in my younger years and through the age of 17. And it was in my family of origin. And so being trauma informed was my personal experience. However, what was so interesting was for many, many years, I didn't recognize it as trauma. It was never referred to as trauma. And even when I started pursuing my pathways AA, 12-step recovery, the word trauma is never it doesn't appear anywhere in the literature. So hello.
They didn't know, but I don't think they associated it with it back then because literally, it's just been associated in DSM and like actual clinical literature in the past like 5 years?
Well, I know that certainly people understanding trauma and how, we can all say, with Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score, I think that began to open up the conversation. So what it's come to mean for me is something different. And that is that I fully recognize what I experienced as trauma, and I have experienced modalities to help heal the trauma. So I have had EMDR. I have had training with Lou Lebens and the Voyage training, which is a 12-month curriculum as a modality for coaches and clinicians. So I've gone through the Voyage training.
Right.
And I also have worked very closely with Deb Dana, and that's all because of Natasha. Natasha wants all of her coaches truly to, when she says best in class, for those coaches to be, we are a safe harbor for others. We are the scaffolding for our clients' nervous systems.
Absolutely.
And it's very important
for good training and continued training, because things,
yes,
landscape changes, right? Look how much the landscape is like. That's something we're big on is continual training. And I handpick people. I don't have this massive roster of people around the world that I don't know. I know everyone that works with us. Everyone.
Right.
And
so
Tosh, here's Tosh. She said, ladies.
Okay.
We were just talking about you and how we're grateful for the divine intervention of your connection. And Steph shared about you being the first one to give her opportunity as a coach. And you did miss that, but she's going into her trauma-informed coach understanding and all the education she's been through.
Yeah.
You.
Yes. And, so again, what it's come to mean for me is now something entirely different. And Deb Dana's, her work as a co-founder of the Polyvagal Institute, and Lou Lebens and her work and her curriculum through the Voyage training.
Right.
I feel truly blessed as a coach, not only now as, again, showing up as the scaffolding for my clients' nervous systems and being able to understand what it is to co-regulate with them, so that which helps them to be able to self-regulate. Because, right, trauma is anything truly that is too overwhelming for the nervous system to handle. I don't want to oversimplify trauma. We can never do it. It's so nuanced. I never want to boil it down to one thing. But understanding my nervous system and understanding the impact of trauma on people's nervous systems and how that impacts how they show up in the world. And again, I think I'll just wrap up by saying, I didn't realize until I had become a trauma-informed coach that the reaching for food or the reaching for alcohol was a way I was trying to self-regulate.
Absolutely.
I was trying to soothe my nervous system.
It's not anymore.
No, but that opened up such an enormous awareness, but also compassion and appreciation for myself, that I was trying to protect myself or soothe myself. There's no crime in that. So now the goal as a coach, when I'm working with individuals where there has been trauma, right, is really to say and acknowledge with them your nervous system, the wisdom of the trauma is that you're trying to soothe yourself or protect yourself or keep yourself feeling safe. Now the work is, how can we establish or find other practices that are not detrimental that will help you to feel safe?
Okay, the chat is blowing up, so I'm going to pause on that. So one, I did want to say that if you like, trauma is whatever. There's no, because someone may have like this more like grandiose trauma.
Big
If
T.
you had something that you think isn't a big deal, but it affects you as trauma, like I use this as an example. My ex-husband, dear friend of mine still, his parents were immigrants, and they worked all the time and weren't able to come to his sports things, and he started working at 11, and like that was his trauma. So when I talk about like being sexually abused, domestic violence, my mother was domestically abused in front of me, my sister being abducted, that's like obviously the Lifetime movie kind of stuff. But we had the same feelings, right? We had the same feelings, and both of our traumas were just as equal. So don't minimize or think that you don't have trauma, because yours may not look as like,
That's right.
big picture grandiosity thing. So I wanted to go back, if I can go up. How do I go up in the comments? Okay, just because my Natasha put that your book is going to be much needed assist for recovery field, especially coaches. She's watched you in action since 2018, and that you have a formula that's effective. And then I have Activia. Wow, Activia from Pakistan. I am caring for orphans and homeless. Well, blessings to you, and thank you for the work you do. I did adopt a orphanage in South Africa when I was there. They didn't have a link or anything, so I've adopted one myself. So please share a link that we can support you. And then my mom, is a psych nurse. She also does some work for my team. So she said, I love all this evolving with addiction of coaches, as they didn't have them when I was a younger and practicing psychiatric RN. And now she sees the value, like when she does follow up with families or anything along those lines, she gets to see like the effectiveness of the way we do things today. John Gill, who's a very big supporter, just gave some support and prayers.
Oh, good.
And then Save Christians.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so I love the curiosity. The curiosity thing was what brought you and I together. And there are wonderful people, like the people you said out there, that do this trauma informed education.
Yes.
And there's trauma informed. It's truly, really can help people. You can mirror and get to where your client is, like by getting to their, like connecting with them on their level, right?
Yes.
Finding a way to attune with them and create a safe space for them, right?
That's that. And any clinician that I've spoken with, in my experience too, I never fully came out of hiding until I felt safe. Now, I have the language to describe that now. I didn't know that that's what was happening. I joke too sometimes, like, Dave is my second husband. My nervous system loves Dave. And the reason why it loves Dave is because Dave is predictable, reliable. His nickname is Swiss Train. What I grew up in was chaos and unpredictability and slamming doors and lots of rupture, no repair. So Dave is steady Dave, right? Steady at the helm. And my nervous system loves that.
My nervous system loves consistent people.
Yes.
And I grew up as a consistent person.
Yeah.
It used to trigger, I've learned over the years, it used to trigger me when people would come into my life. Now I don't have expectations like that, like I used to. We learn and grow and evolve. But there are some people out there that are teaching trauma informed, that are actually doing things like the snatch and grab of kids, which is like baffling to me. So I'm so grateful that you had like really good people teach you, because to teach trauma informed, and then to, like I had somebody call me and ask me to do that to their adult child last week. And if I would come and have myself and a male grab her 30-year-old daughter and drag. So first of all, I don't think that happens with adults. I said, and I would never participate that with adolescents as someone who's been traumatized. I think that will traumatize them further. So I don't participate in anything like that. But so your book is going to be talking about how to. I don't want words. I'm going to cast that to you.
So the book, okay, so this is right. This is what it's going to look like. It's not, it's, the galleys are going to be ready this week. So I'll be sending galleys to actually some clinicians and colleagues to get their input. In the very first chapter, which is titled "Taking Off the Overcoat of Shame," I open with the final episode of sexual abuse that I experienced in my family, and
thank you for being so brave and vulnerable to put that in your book. I put it in my TEDx, and it's very, very brave. I'm very proud of you.
Well,
it's going to help people by just knowing that you wrote that in your book, and they're going to say, wow, this woman talked about it, and maybe I can too.
Well, I appreciate that, and I truly I do, and I felt compelled because it had been hidden and minimized for so long, and it's not my entire story, but it's part of my story, and I certainly, as the backdrop on developing an eating disorder and substance use disorder, it all makes so much sense.
Yeah, if it's not validated, I swear it multiplies the trauma.
Yeah. And
like, my mother had my back, and always, my mother put me in therapy as a kid. She finally got away from the domestic situation when she found out I was being sexually abused. So I was always validated. I've heard many people, whether the mother or the whoever, will deny that it ever happened or stuff it under the rug. And that adds a whole extra layer of trauma.
Okay. So bingo. Because it's not, it absolutely can be what happened to us, but it can also be what didn't happen for us, not just to us, but what didn't happen for us. And I will go so far as to say as well that I wasn't gang raped. I didn't have what big T trauma. I didn't want it to be big T trauma. I didn't even have that language then, but it was minimized and minimized. Yes.
That's all you knew, what you knew.
So even though the first chapter opens with my personal story, and then it describes the sort of the eating disorder, and then full blown, I got sober when I was 36, so I blossomed into this alcoholic. The book then pivots when I pivoted to become a recovery coach. And the book itself takes the reader through the coaching process, which I use with each of my clients. Now, the methodology or the sort of my Steph Hazard's way of working with clients, it's a distillation of my basic training and many of the other trainings that I've taken over the years. But the basic training that I got with CCAR, the Connecticut Community for Addiction Recovery, that's the boilerplate of the book. And the books are now available for pre-order, and part of the pre-order incentive campaign is I am donating 15% of all the pre-order proceeds to CCAR and to another nonprofit called Liberation Programs. But so the book is a stand-in for me as a coach, you as somebody who's struggling, or if you have a family member or a friend that you're concerned about. This is an introduction to what it would be like to work with a coach and why coaching is so effective.
And I would recommend for people that are exploring being a coach or learning, or new coaches or experienced coaches, because I want to continually learn. So I'm going to get a copy to learn from you, because I want to learn from everything I can. I'm a continual student. So Brandon Hamdorf wrote, "This is super insightful. Thank you both for sharing experience, being vulnerable, and helping others find true healing." I don't know if you know Brandon. He's a very sweet, kind soul. And then I just put on here, how brave is Stephanie? You're very, very brave. How can people pre-order your book?
So they can go to 3 different places. You can go to Amazon.com. You can go to barnesandnoble.com, or you can go to bookshop.org. Some people like Bookshop.
Can you put the book up again, and so I can write it? And so you can also, Stephanie, come into this after, because this will live on LinkedIn.
Great.
And you can put links in yourself. that making sobriety stick. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Making sobriety stick. And Amanda, back to working with clinicians. So Dr. Lippy Roy, who actually is also a Tulane alum. That's where I went to college. But
Nice.
she's an addiction medicine doctor, and she wrote the foreword.
Amazing. It's so great to have, like, people participate in yours. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm heading to New York City today via train, and I'm going to a few women that I met in DC a couple weeks ago's book events. I'm going to Rachel Goldman's and Yasmin, she's a wellness expert on the Today Show. So I'll send you the links if you can come meet me in the city. I'm coming there for the 3 book events.
Okay, so is that tonight or tomorrow?
No, I'm taking the train in tonight. Sean Dugan is going to meet me at the train station because I'm in an Airbnb because it's graduation week, and there were all the hotels in DC starting tonight, and New York starting tonight are absolutely ridiculous because of all the college graduations. So I got an Airbnb, really nice one. So I'm going to be staying in the city, and the events start the 13th, and then there's 2 on the 14th.
Okay, so I am coming in on the 13th. So we can chat. Yeah, we'll chat after.
I'm a supporter of, like, especially as someone who's just started my book, even though I've had like many blueprint things about it, but actually starting it, I want to support all my friends that are, writing books, and it inspires me to do more work on it. So we definitely have to have an event. If you want to come to Florida, I will create you a book event. And I'm sure Tosh will help if she's in town, but like, I would love to support you in any way that I can. I think it's so brave to especially talk about your own abuse publicly. It helps others so much. When I do keynote speaking, I've had so many people come up to me after and thank me because they said they've never told anyone, and now they feel safe. And like the feel that's like that's what
we have to, I was listening, it was like to an Oprah. It was like 10 years ago, and she was doing something with Deepak Chopra, but they had a guest on, and the guest had been through quite a bit of sexual abuse and physical abuse. And she talked about how what happened to us doesn't define us. We are the ones who define the story. We are the ones who define what happened to us. And she said that her purpose is truly to be like a candle and to be that light. And one of the most healing, we know this, that one of the most, it's sort of a shame buster. Shame can't survive in the light. So every time I talk about it openly, every time I talk about it with other people, it's like we should get t-shirts that say shame busters.
Oh my God. You were literally saying what I say all the time because it makes other people feel uncomfortable. And I always say, the more I talk about it, the lighter it feels.
Yeah.
And I literally, that's why my jaw was like, is she literally saying that right now? And it was my reason, because I knew that I had went through what I had went through. And it was my reason. I was like, people that went through what I went through are destined to have messed up lives. This was my belief system. And I'm lucky I'm not worse than I am. And that was until I took my power back and said, wait, am I going to continue to let this person that hurt me when I was 4 to 7 years old run my life? Am I going to let that define me? No, no longer.
Right. Honey, I'm again, we've got to get t-shirts, shame busters. The more any opportunity, and sometimes it's still hard for me to get the words connected up, and I realize that that's just a pocket of grief and a pocket of, another level of healing. And the more I can speak truth to it, the lighter it is. But my job is to light somebody else's candle. My job is to also be the light for somebody else, because honey, it only shame exists in the darkness.
I swear it's so crazy that you were saying that. I was like, oh my God, I've not heard anyone say it like that. You said it the way that same. Yeah. It's because it's a truth as a feeling. It's a truth that we've gone through, a truth that we've felt deep inside of us and lived in, and talking about it takes away its power, takes away its shame, takes away it running our lives or beating us down. Like it's so powerful.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, if you have one takeaway from this from me, Stephanie can give her own, but mine would be to tell one person. Just tell one person the pain that you're holding in and not telling anyone. Tell one person. Let's just start there. You wait till you see how much and if you want that person to be Stephanie or I, if you don't trust people, I mean, reach out to us in DMs. I know that either one of us will make ourselves available just so you can tell someone. There's so much power in that. You will be able to start a healing process that you have no idea what can come at the end of that or come through that. What would be your if someone could take away one thing from us talking about this today, what would it be? Besides ordering your book, we want them to do that.
Yeah, no. That's so great. Of course. I mean, I'm just so delighted to be able to talk about the book, but find other women. And this is my special connection with you, Amanda. My spirit recognized you right away as a safe person, but as a woman who would have my back. I'm not kidding. You know, when you can feel it. And so my takeaway would be, no, it's the truth. My takeaway would be,
person. I so wasn't that person when I was younger. I was the opposite. I was the girl that you would not feel that. So in my healing, that I become that person to someone like you, like it means the world to me.
Oh, sweetie. Oh, yeah. So here we are in tears, right? This is so fantastic. And so the takeaway is, don't keep it to yourself. Don't keep it hidden, but find another safe woman that your nervous system, your nervous system will know if they're safe. And share it. And know that, again, as Amanda said, you can reach out to me directly, you can reach out to Amanda directly, but there is strength in just speaking the truth. And know that can, for some people, truly begin healing, the healing sort of journey. Yeah.
Yeah, what a gift to be able to be a safe woman today. Like, and for you were that to me right away too. And then I didn't realize that we had all this interwoven connection behind the scenes too, which was,
I know, including that my son Jack,
that's
from a whole other situation. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I am so grateful and thankful for you. This has just been such a great opportunity. And
got me crying on camera, and I'm not a cute crier. My mom wrote, Amanda, I love you so much, because of course she's we've been through a lot together, her and I, and my mom has, is on her own healing journey, and it's beautiful to witness, with knowing all she's been through, to see her growth and her dedication in her 70s to still try to be a better her and heal. That's impresses the heck out of me. Because most, you could have every reason to be like, all right, well, forget it at this point. But no, she shows up for herself, and she tries, and she works on herself, and it's beautiful to witness as your daughter, Mom. Just so you.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, this has been emotional. So. Okay, we said your one thing. What is your one hope that people will get from your book?
They'll pursue working with a recovery coach. You don't have to be struggling. You can just be super curious, or you can just be wanting to invest in your own wellness. My hope is that people will engage with coaches, and that they will find support and find this non-clinical support role in their lives, and be able to share it with others. So, and to pass the book to others, because there are lots of people too who have been through recovery, want to give back, but they don't know how, that in a more meaningful way. And the world needs more recovery coaches. So in addition, we see opioid use settlement funds now being directed to peer recovery support programs and peer peer support, right? Which is similar to recovery coaching. Peer support just happens to be covered by insurance. In some states, recovery coaching is not. But my greatest hope is that people will be absolutely inspired and ignited to find a coach to work with and strengthen and grow their own wellness. So the premise really for the book is that we step up and into our highest selves, that really pursuing wellness really is us finding our true north. And I think us living substance free allows us to step up and into our highest self. Yeah.
Absolutely. I have to take a picture of this comment because it makes me want to cry again.
Oh,
Can you see it?
no, what does it say?
It's my mom, and it says, "It's because of your encouragement, Amanda, that I've continued to grow." I mean, what's better than that?
What a fan. Mom is such a fan. That's great.
Well, listen, my mother never gave up on me like a lot of people did. And in my darkest moments, my mom always believed in me. And she always told me, and God, was she right? If I put a fraction into doing something positive of the energy I put into getting into trouble, like I could conquer the world. And she knew that underneath. And she knew that if I if I got my life together, which I did at 26, and, my son was 18 months old, he's now 20, that like I could conquer anything, and I literally, any dream or goal that I've had, I've been able to make into a reality. I come from being a really poor single mom. I just last year took my 20-year-old to Philippines and Thailand, and my daughter to South Africa and Kenya. Like the whole time I was on those trips, I literally couldn't believe it was real. I'd be like, I lived on food stamps, I lived on WIC, I lived on government assistance, I lived in the ghetto. I had no money. I'd work 13-hour shifts at the breakers for 14 days a week sometimes, really just trying to make ends meet. And I never forget that. Like I never forget where I come from. And my mom and my mom and my godmother, and there was a few people that even in my worst moments just believed that like I could be a better me. And it's always nice. Listen, if you don't have someone that believes in you out there, it really helps to have someone that believes in you. If you don't have someone that believes in you, I believe in you. Stephanie believes in you. Even if we don't know you, we believe in you because we know the power of this.
Yeah.
Power of healing. Like I've started, so I have the, next level. And over the past couple of years, I've developed my own brand, which is the Amanda Marino brand, which I do regular, traditional life coaching, right? Also helping people to build businesses and step into their own. Co-parenting is one of my favorite things to teach for exes because I have 2 exes, which is unheard of, 2 kids' dads that I love and love me, and not that in a different kind of way, of course, today. And like my kids don't come from broken homes; they come from double the love because everyone shows up. Like my fiance Phil and my ex-husband coach at the same time and help each other and play each other on each other. And we're all supportive. We're all here for the kids because we're mature enough to see that this isn't about us. This is about the children. Yeah. So I love to teach co-parenting. Started a mastermind. And that's to help people to step into all the things that I've been, worked hard, but also been blessed to have the opportunity. And I wish that I had, I did do masterminds myself. I did many. I wanted to offer one that was, something that people could do that had busy lives and could add a lot of value in a reasonable price, unlike the ones that I've invested in, which were absolutely insanely, I think. But it's just like, I continue to get coaching. I continue to coach, so it's like a continual journey, Stephanie, right? Like,
oh my God. No. I love the pinching yourself. There are times when I pinch myself, like when I'm over at the Silver Bell Global Retreat in England, in Northamptonshire. There are times when I am pinching myself versus it's where to be there, to be on a wellness retreat versus alone in my bathroom purging and hung over that I have to crawl my way back into bed. I mean, the recovery is a bridge back to life, but it's a life. I would suggest that recovery has enhanced my life. like my life, and as it unfolds and as I continue to grow, I fully believe that more opportunity, and I'm able to, my life has gotten broader, bigger and broader as a result of this recovery journey. I mean,
Yeah, more
it's
depth.
expansive, it's dimensionalized, but and it keeps expanding. And I keep thinking I'm at the outer banks of what I can handle, and it keeps expanding. But that's God. That's the universe. That's the expansive nature
Right.
that lives on the inside of us. So there are times when I think, oh my God, I can't handle this. I can't do this. This is more
Oh,
than,
me too.
you
Get on
know.
the plane to come to DC. I was like, I was just here 2 weeks ago. Like, am I really doing this right now? And then going to take a train to New York City, but I'm going to be fine. I'm here.
I know. So we just pray for a little strength, and but we keep, I think, my limitations, uh I think sometimes I just want to be careful because I'm the one who imposes the limitations,
Yeah. Amen.
consciously or unconsciously. And that gets in the way of me being of service sometimes. So I just have to say, okay, you're trying to keep me safe. Limitations are just trying to keep me like back here. So, it's like uncomfortable to go big, but I just keep doing the next right thing. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, it was super uncomfortable for me when I added on the Amanda Marino, like investing into myself, into me, like investing into the next level was like always easy. But when it came to a time where like I had people tell me, no, you need to start doing this for you, your own name and you, super uncomfortable. I'll tell you, I've never regretted investing in myself. Never once regretted it. It felt uncomfortable to do it in the beginning, to pull that trigger, to do the thing, to commit to something like that was about me, working on me outside of like all these things. But I've never regretted investing in me. And like you were talking about certain things on the journey, I feel like the depth, that we get more depth.
Yeah.
We get more, okay, this is a strange way to explain it, but nutrient dense relationships. Like my relationships today are nutrient dense. They aren't McDonald's French fries. They
Yeah.
aren't, they're the most nutrient dense, rich food, abundant foods are
Yeah.
my relationships today. So I'd rather have less of those and have them be like that than I would ever have. Like I used to like just spread myself thin among many groups of people and do all these things and like wanted to fit myself as a square into a circle hole, and like I don't want that today. I don't want to be in those spaces. I want to just be me with my God, and whoever is brought into my life and whoever I'm brought into their life, it's what it's meant to be. And I trust that process today. I don't fight.
I love the nutrient dense. When I'm working with eating disorder clients, right? We talk about calorie dense food because it's hard to eat a lot for some who are weight restoring. So, pick a calorie dense snack.
Yes.
Okay, so we're like nutrient dense. I love that.
Yeah,
Well,
I feel like relationships are. I couldn't come up with another way to describe
yeah,
it,
it's
but
great.
like they're very rich and full and abundant, and like I had just like every woman or every man, I'm sure they go through it. Maybe not as deeply as us. I'm not just saying as a whole, but like you evolve and you grow, and some people. My mom told me this too. If you can count your friends on one hand, you're. And I cry as a little kid. I'd be like, no, mommy, I have 100 friends, and then. So like if some people are a reason, season, and a lifetime. And I really never got that until I let go. And I truly, I will, if it's somebody that's like really like worth it, but I will definitely fight for that. I will, but I'm not going to chase. I would do anything for you to not leave me, not abandon me, not even if you weren't healthy for me or you weren't happy for me or you didn't want to see me win and you were more comfortable with me in the struggle. I would still chase you to stay in my life because of my trauma.
Yes.
Now I trust. I say, it's not about me. I know that my side of the street's clean. And if they don't feel it like that, that's okay. This is God's plan. This is not mine. And since I've been there, that's been a few years. It's like every person that comes to my life is nutrient dense.
That's great.
Nobody that's not has come into my world at all. And
So
if they
we can design some swag. You can go nutrient dense with a cap, and I'll have Shane Busters in a t-shirt.
yeah, let's start a clothing line on
Yeah,
top of everything else we do.
we could do a recovery clothing line. Oh my God. Well,
Trauma-informed clothing line.
yeah.
When you feel abandoned by friendships, look for more nutrient-dense ones. Shame busters.
That's
Well,
funny. That should be a hashtag. Yeah.
yes, yes. So how can people find you, Stephanie? Besides, I mean, you're obviously here on LinkedIn. Where can they find you?
Sure. People can find me on Instagram. My handle is A Path Toward Recovery. I'm also on Facebook and on TikTok. I'm going to be posting a lot more about the book as it's, the pre-order incentive campaign is amazing. So we're offering a lot of, lovely add-ons if you pre-order the book now. The pre-order sales are really important because that informs the publisher how many books are going to be printed in the first run, and also sort of determines where the placement is going to be in different bookstores. I have a great sales team with Simon and Schuster, so no doubt they're going to do a great job. But anyway, so Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then I would also.
What's the website?
Pardon?
I know you have a website. What's your website?
Sure. And the website is also, it's www.pathtowardrecovery.com. And there you can also find information about the book, but pathtowardrecovery.com.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
And I really encourage you, Stephanie, to pop on here afterwards.
Yeah.
And please add the links for people to pre-order. I know for my team, I'm going to order one for everyone that's a core member of my team. So I'm going to do a group order. So please come on after. Don't forget, I'll text you to remind you, and put the link on LinkedIn because it stays live here. It doesn't stay live on Instagram. It kind of, we will make clips out of it, but this will live on YouTube. This will live on Facebook. This will live on LinkedIn. But I think LinkedIn's probably I would do it on all of the platforms. So I'll send you, if you can't find them for some reason, I'll send you the links. But definitely, really, really grateful for you. Thank you for the work you do. Thank you for how you show up in this world, the raw vulnerability. And thank you for seeing me as a safe woman. That means that's probably the biggest compliment someone could give me. Literally, that feels like so, you saw it, made me super emotional. Thank you, Natasha, for being the connector. Thank you, God, for bringing us together.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so grateful. And I'm going to I'll call you after to let you know about the events I'm going to. Maybe we can see each other in the next couple of days.
Exactly. That would be great. All right, my dear. Safe travels.
So much, Stephanie. Thank you to everyone who chimed in, asked questions. I love it when it's collaborative and it's engaging. It just makes it even more fun. But please order Stephanie's book, Levels Without Limits. You can find when I'm not traveling. I do this 12:30 Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays, and then it goes onto YouTube as a podcast. You'll see clips that we reshare. Look up Next Level Wellness and Behavioral Health. That's my main company. And Amanda Marino Speaks if you want to book a keynote speaker, or if you want to join my mastermind right now that I have that has a rolling admission. We have a great group of people so far. So if you join in this cohort, I think you will be really, really happy. It's for people that are trying to either, enhance their social media, grow their brand, step into their power, maybe book keynotes, maybe we will help people walk the path if they want to book a TEDx. So there's all this benefit for a fraction of what I pay. And then there's also a retreat I have coming up in August. That's a You Do You in Costa Rica. And it's really that. I've been to so many retreats that are so rigid and intense. This one, if you want to sleep in, you sleep in. If you want to do an alternative activity for the day, you do that. This is for anyone. Come in a group of 4, you get a discount. Come in a group of 2, you get a discount. So it's in Nosara, which is beautiful on Sunset side. And we'll have a sunset themed event every day. So check out my 2 websites, Next Level Wellness Behavioral Health and AmandaMarinoSpeaks.com. And definitely pre-order Stephanie's book. We will provide the link. And please for Levels Without Limits in the future.
Yeah, that's great. And thank you. The book itself is titled Making Sobriety Stick, a Recovery Coach's Guide to Sustainable Change. And yeah, so the recovery coach, obviously, I lobbied and made sure that that was part of the title because it really is the first mainstream guide to recovery coaching. So I'll add all the information, and I just can't thank you enough for the opportunity.
That's
Really,
so,
it's just
so
been
exciting.
great.
Our motto that I actually have trademarked is creating lasting change. That's Next Level's like motto. And so that's very similar to your, but it's different. It's your own way of saying it. But yeah, that's what it's about. Creating lasting change. Creating change in your life that like is sustainable, and you don't have to do this back and forth thing with all the things in your life. Like the journey to healing is not pretty and not linear, but doesn't mean you have to go back and start back from square one, right? So
Right.
we're here for it. And I'm grateful for you. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you
Great.
so much for tuning in.
Okay.